Assalamu alaikum and welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Meet and Greet show with yours truly, Aisha Khan. Now today I'm going to meet a young, intelligent lady who has always been passionate about mathematics and physics. This led her to pursuing a career in aerospace engineering. She goes by the name Naima Salim Khan.
Besides having a full-time role as a fleet development engineer, Naima has a keen interest in volunteerism activities, a concept that brings together the aspect of volunteering and tourism. Travel with a purpose, from building classrooms in Zanzibar to teaching monks English in Sri Lanka.
I am finally at the Karai Indian and Swahili cuisine with a very lovely Naima Salim. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
I'm also excited to host you. Now, Naima, describe yourself in 2 minutes. Who are you?
So I'd say Naima is energetic young Muslima, focused on my career in engineering. I've always been a math and physics and inquisitive child since growing up. So my career path has driven me to be more inquisitive and focus into just living life every day with a purpose. In short, I'll say that I'm an engineer by profession. I live life by an eye that I always love by saying Hal jazaa'ul ihsan illa ihsan. So everyone I interact with, I try and live with them and engage with them for a purpose.
Now, how was life growing up? Tell us about little Naima.
I think I was a very disciplined kid, maybe because my mom is a teacher, and I think that happens with every child whose mom is a teacher.
Yeah.
So even in school, I was like a prefect and everything else, like in terms of discipline.
So you are that good girl.
Yeah, the good student, but very focused on my sciences and also in my education. So I'd say that pretty much it. Like I can't say that I was I had any mischief going on, all that. Yeah, because I was always like the ideal student.
Now, what role did your parents play in your life?
So I live with my mom. She's a single mother, and she supported me in every way. Like as I said, she's a teacher, so I think her interaction with young kids and all, I mean, even at home and even outside there, she has that level of like shaping your life. I wouldn't say like she directed me towards what she wants, but she could see the potential in me and push me to do it. So I know even with our community, there's this stigma of every girl has to be a doctor or a nurse, and even that pressure used to come from my family, like she has to be a doctor, she can't be this smart, and like she has to follow that path that everyone does. But she used to tell them like, I know my daughter and there's no way she can be a doctor, so stop pressuring her over things that she cannot do. Let her choose her life the way she wants to live it, and I'm not going to pressure her.
Naima, tell me a little bit about your school life. You just mentioned you loved mathematics and sciences, subjects that most people hate doing.
I don't know if it comes in naturally or is it something that you build over time. But one thing I'll tell you for sure is when you're studying, especially even the area of books that you'd have, like the geography, I don't know, all those things we used to do, GHC, English, I would always find myself doing mathematics homework.
Okay.
So even my mom, she used to complain. She's like, why do I always enter your room and you're always doing maths, like you're not doing anything else? And it's just the excitement. I don't know, is it the numbers? Because even today, even with at my workplace, when I see a huge Excel sheet with the numbers that I have to analyze, like that excitement, like I can get lost in it for 4-6 hours and even forget myself around it. I always say maybe the reason why I love mathematics and physics is because there's always a solution that is visible. Like it's a plus and a minus that comes with a final solution. It's not English where you have to write a theory and still end up getting like 65%, yet you thought you've expressed yourself fully, but there's someone else who doesn't think the same. So I think it's just the definitive about it, and at the same time that when you look at physics, it's applicable to everything in life. So it's as easy as just apply it to your day-to-day life and you will find the solutions. Yeah, so I guess that's why.
Amazing. And how is the response in school, Naima? You know, being a Muslim girl and being very interested in this. How are your teachers? How supportive were they?
From primary school, you could already see the distinction between my strength in mathematics and sciences. But sciences to an extra level, I think when it's, you could see that, okay, there's a weakness here when it comes to like the biology side of it. But when it comes to the physical side, you could see the strength. And I think from my primary school, I was encouraged to keep on pushing with the strength that I had in mathematics. But when I came to high school, I think that's when the definitive moment came, because now you're clearly defining your path to university. So I had a mathematics teacher from Kerala, India, and I think they're the best mathematicians. And I would just say that he's the one who now pushed me to the limit. I think by the way he talks to you, or the way he encourages you, like he pushes you every day. He looks at you and he's like, my dear, you're a gem. I know you can do it. Just push yourself to do it. And he never used to accept me failing. And even I had an IT teacher who was also pushing me in a different direction and telling me like, you can't go without IT, especially in the 21st century. You know? So try and see how you can take all your strengths and push to a career that you would like. So when I was in the high school that I went to, they were very encouraging, like in terms of taking your strengths and pushing you to a direction that you'd want. So I was stuck between actuarial sciences, I'd say, and engineering. And even with engineering, I didn't know what kind of engineering I wanted to do. So even when I was in my A-levels, it was like actuarial engineering, you know, which is which. But then the defining moment came when my head teacher, the head teacher of the school, told me, listen, why don't you just do a general engineering course and see how you will move forward. But at the same time, at home, I have an aunt who has been in the aerospace aviation industry for very long, and she knows like the excitement behind it. And she also, as in I'd say, she's like my eldest mom, because she's my mom's eldest sister. So she keeps talking about aviation, and she put that, you know, that passion into us, and it drives you. So I was like, okay, I don't need to go to university to just do a general engineering and define myself. I think I already know what I want to do. So let me get there, and I guess the path will open up.
So you decided this is what I want to do. Now let's talk about your university life. How was it studying outside Kenya?
So initially it was tough. I'd obviously say that, because you're far away from home. You don't know like what you're going to get there. But I know I already made the decision to study abroad, so I had to do it, you know. And also that the decision that I made to go to the university that I did was also chosen from my from high school. And that's also something I'm very appreciative of. Like my head teacher, I'd say when you're going through that university application process, she puts it to you like which university she prefers for you to go. So she used to keep telling me, I want you to go to Manchester, I want you to go to Manchester. And I was like, what is wrong with her with this Manchester University? I mean, yes, it's one of the top universities in engineering, but I could go to any other top 5. I could go to the ones in London, I could go. But she's like, I want you to go to Manchester. So when I look at where I went to study versus some of my students of my school who went to other universities, you find that they hated their university life, I'd say, because they went to very isolated, you know, farm area, schools where it had very racist people, I'd say.
They had cultural shock there.
Cultural shock, exactly. But for me, it just felt really smooth. The transition, I just went in, it felt very familiar, the area. So that is like socially. But now when you get into the career that I was doing, the engineering, of course, I was like the only Muslim face there, especially in aeronautical engineering. The sad reality is, the first person who asked me, what are you even doing here? What did you even choose this career? Is a Muslim lecturer from, I think it was Turkey or one of these, Turkey or Azerbaijan, not so sure where from, but has experience in the aviation industry, engines aviation, and then came now into to being a lecturer. That's the first time I got that question from such a teacher. And it really made me sad. I was like, okay, so am I supposed to be happy that he's asking? Is he inquisitive, or is he like
being sarcastic
about it? Like he doesn't understand why a Muslim girl will be here. So I explained to him just the way I've explained to you right now. Then there were those who were just bluntly racist.
Okay, and
Yeah.
how was that for you?
Yeah. For me, I just stood above it. I think there was one especially, he was American.
Okay.
One of the, as I said, the British were very helpful. Maybe it's because of the interaction with Muslims around them or something. But the American one just did not want to see my face. I think even want to hear my voice. So the fact that he taught, especially a course that I loved very much, which was design engineering, and I had to deal with him every year, it was really frustrating. So I took it for the second year. We weren't much interacting with him, so I just put it down for a bit. Third year, when he was defining a course that if we won that project, that design project, it would take us to a competition to the US, which he was lobbying for. So our team, which was sad for him, a Nigerian, a Pakistani, and myself.
Okay.
Which is like
That's
the
like
combination
a cocktail that he
does
doesn't
not
see
want to
going.
see.
Yeah.
He does not want to see. He wanted the British team to win, of course. Yeah. So when we kept going, so he gave. The funny enough is that we were being graded for the design project, both by the university and the competition in the US.
Amazing.
So we were three teams. So the British team in school was scoring like 80 and 90 and 98, and us guys were there like 67%. Like, these guys, I'm not taking them to the US with such marks.
Yeah.
When we do the same interviews with the American competition, our team scores the highest. So when it came to the time to take the team that wins to the competition, it was our team that won. So what he did is he took us, because we have to be there, and took his group of British kids and white kids, I'm sorry to say, and put them into our group.
Wow.
So we came from 3 and everyone just they
embraced it.
Yes, they swam into our team. And then we just embraced it and we decided to go with them, and we went with him to the US. When we were doing the competition, I remember one day we were in like the living room, and it was like the following day we were showcasing our model. And he said like a very nasty comment.
Okay.
And then at the same time he was like, I want to know from which one of you here does not like me. And I turned and just told him, I don't. You've made my last 2 years a living hell, and I can't wait to be done with you.
And how was his reaction towards that?
He was quiet and he walked out.
Wow.
I was like, yeah. Then when I left, the Pakistani and Nigerian were like, we know we hate him too, but you were too blunt. I was like, I have nothing to lose. I'm here. We made it. He knows the guys he was lobbying for did not make it. We got them here. And we've made it ourselves. So what is it? What are you afraid of? Funny enough is now the 4th year. Same design project. He was supposed to. There was a time where the lecturer who was supposed to be interviewing us for the project was not there, so he took up and he interviewed me, and he gave me really low grades.
Wow.
So when the lecturer came back when he saw the grades, he asked anyone who wants to be re-interviewed by me, just come back. At first I didn't want to do it. I was like, forget about it. The grades are grades. He called me and he told me, I know the grades that you got weren't yours. I know how much you've put into this project, and I want to re-interview you because I know it's not fair. He called him out of his office and told him, I'm re-interviewing her. Are you okay with it? He's like, yeah. And he re-interviewed me, and my grades just shot up from nowhere. I was like, subhanallah, like...
Yeah. I mean, there are so many people in this life towards our journey to becoming successful. There are always thorns in the way. But just from your story, what I can pick out is that you stood above it and you still worked very hard to get what you want. And at the end of the day, you proved them wrong. And that's amazing. Now, we will be taking a short break and we will be right back. Welcome back to the show. For those of you who are joining us right now, I am with Naima Salim, who is an aviation engineer with over 3 years of technical experience. So welcome back, Naima. Now, in the first segment, we are talking about your challenges, being racism, looked down as a Muslim girl, pursuing this career that is not very familiar to this part of the world. Now, let's go back to your high school days. There was a time, again, you were attacked. Tell me about that.
So that was mainly when I transitioned to GCE system.
Yeah.
And I joined an Asian school in Nairobi, carrying out GCE. So through that, again, I was still doing my sciences. I don't refuse that it was a challenge, because I just come from 844 where you do KCP and then you're doing like social studies, like 5 subjects, and then you jump into GCE system and you're now getting into physics, chemistry, all these complexities where you haven't done them. Like people who've done them from since year 7, you're starting off with them. So it was a challenge picking that up. So we had this chemistry teacher. When you get into the science subjects, you find that there was a sizable number of Muslim girls from the Pakistani community, from Somalis, from Arabs. The school is prominent, it's well known, so a lot of people were studying there. So we had like a bunch of girls who obviously are in some of science subjects, biology, and we had this African teacher who used to teach us chemistry. Actually, there was an African teacher, there was an Asian teacher, but I think the prominent one was the African teacher, especially I didn't expect that from her, who had little or no attention to the Muslim girls in the class. And the best thing she would tell us is like, I'm not going to waste my time with you, all of you are going to get married anyway. And that was like in our year 10 and 11 of, like that's like the end of you doing your O-levels. So that's the time when you're putting your most effort. So myself and a very close friend of mine until today, Somali girl, and even we were taking almost similar subjects. She was also taking another class which was pure math, which was an Indian teacher, and she had the same reaction to us. Like the pure math, because math is like the pure math is very complex. I think we were the only 2 girls in her class, and then the rest were boys. Same thing. She used to put us at the back of the class, and then she was like, for those of you who are interested in learning, like do it. If you don't, I mean, I'm not gonna be bothered with you. So it was the 2 of us. So we ganged up, and we were like, we need to prove these 2 ladies wrong. So when we I know I had a weakness in chemistry because I didn't have to do it before, but the reason why the day she told us that is the reason why I worked hard.
She gave you that energy to prove her wrong.
Exactly. So I never went back to the school, not to even, I think even when picking up my certificates, I think I just sent someone to go pick them or something. But when I came back to the school, now to collect my leaving certificate when I was going to the UK, I met her at the reception. She was like, oh, what are you doing here? I'm like, I'm coming to collect my living certificate. She's like, what for? I'm like, I'm going to university. Oh, congratulations. What are you going to do? I'm like, aerospace engineering. She just left like, and mind you, I got an A star in her subject. Growing up in that environment, you had released that racism stigma, but then you came and found it in another Asian school in Kenya. It felt really annoying and really pathetic. Then now, at least when I moved on to my A-level school, and now, as I told you earlier, like how they pushed me to get into even the university of my choice.
And again, it also depends on you, because if you decided back then to give up, Naima, I don't think we would be having this conversation today.
Of course not.
Yeah, so Naima, let's move on to your career life right now as a fleet development engineer. What role do you play?
I started as a graduate engineer. So fresh from uni, you get into this graduate engineering program where you're taken across all the sections within the engineering department. Very diverse. Like those 2 years of my life, they were really exciting. It's the first time I'm getting into the industry. I want to know everything. I want to know where I fit best before I even choose where I want to have my permanent job or shape my path. So yeah, it went from different aspects. So the thing that people don't know about engineering is I could be engineering in the office, my desk, being very analytical and very doing modifications and just giving directives to the engineers on the floor. And then the ones on the floor are like technicians who go up to being engineers, where to now they supervise the hands-on work that's being carried out. And then there are frontline engineers who just deal with the problems that they come every day. Like those are the ones who have sleepless nights. Like they could be sleeping and they just get a phone call and told, oh, the aircraft is grounded in Paris. Like wake up, you can't sleep anymore. And then there's a totally different side of things where it's like full project management. And full project management in terms of that's now where I settled the most, and that's actually where I found my career being more exciting, and every day is a new learning new learning environment where it's just in the middle of everything. Like even today, our section, still people don't know where it fits. Like are we engineers, are we aircraft owners? Like it's in between. So how we do it every day is we are like the asset owners of the aircraft. We take the whole company through the life cycle of the aircraft, from the time we bring it into service.
Okay.
So we have to go through the whole analytics of the aircraft that the company is going to choose to fly that network, blah, blah, blah. You go through that, select the aircraft, bring that aircraft to service, get people to be trained in Kenya Airways, get everything to be done. When the aircraft is in its life cycle, you try and see what modifications, what changes does it need for it to be improved until it's growing of age, and you want now to sell it off or dispose it off, and now you do that. You redeliver the aircraft, or you go dispose it, you go take it for parting out, and etc. So we look at that whole aspect. And right now, at the same time, with the whole current situation that's going on in the industry, we're looking at how we can negotiate the financing of those aircraft. There's so much legal aspect. So there's legal, there's finance, there's commercial, you have to wear so many hats. And I think that's what got me excited, because everyone used to say that role is so challenging. By the time when you're looking at 1 year through, you're like, okay, I'm not even an engineer anymore. I can understand business, I can understand contracts, I can understand everything. I understand the whole business, the aviation airline as a whole, and not just the engineering perspective of it.
You are working in a male-dominated industry. How is it for you?
So first of all, I think the first challenge I faced is not on the office desk. The office desk is fine, like propulsion engineers. There were ladies before, there are ladies in the section, not as many, but there's also been Rivati Muslims, mashallah, who are like engineers, like propulsion engineers, who have now jobs in Qatar and things like that.
Mashallah.
Yeah, they've really grown fast. So in the offices, it was okay. I'd say to an
I mean, that's normal.
Yes.
That's normal to have a lady there.
Yes. But you know, usually they're the admins, not the engineer, So at least we had one who had already pioneered that direction. And the fact that she was a Rivati, it was really like, wow. So, but on the floor is where now the things changed.
Okay.
Because now when you're touching grease and you're like, you're in an overall and like talking about nuts and bolts and changing softwares. The interesting bit about it is now it's like a switch from what I experienced in the UK. The younger generation are very excited, like, like to help you, they're like, they know, as in, okay, how did you choose this career and whatever, but they don't ask you too much about it. They just really help you work together. Like, they come nikushow, come nikuoneshe, tunafanya hii, tuna change software hii, tunafanya hivi. They really show you all how to do it. But the older generation look at you with that stigma, like, ndo nafaa kufanya boroscope ya engine na yeye. Uyu, like, And then after you finish the work, they ask you like, so, ulifikaje hapa?
Is it because of your dressing, your hijab?
Yes, that's one, of course. And two, that one. And then also for me, I'd say, in terms of my community as well. So they look at you and they're like, hey, we ni Muhindi, ni Mwarabu, ni mnakubaliwa kufanya vitu kama hizi. As in ulifikaje? Like even the way I remember that old man asking me, ulifikaje hapa? The only other thing I've noticed now, being in this fleet development engineering role, is the international interaction now. Because you deal with a lot of my aircraft manufacturers, aircraft engineers, and etc., who come from like now European countries, Ireland, America, especially America. They come and then they give you like some very interesting looks. First of all, like, are you from here? Are you from the Middle East? Like, are you the engineer we are working with? First of all, I think because you mainly interact with them on phone or something, they think Naima is a guy. Like Naima. The way they'll spell it is Naima. They're like, Naima, yeah. Then you come, they're like, oh,
it's you.
This is you. This is the Naima I've been speaking, like, I've been emailing and whatever. I thought it was someone else,
Naima, what keeps you so grounded? I mean, every part of your life, someone came in and really tried to put you down, but you got back stronger than before. What is this thing that keeps you going?
For me, my belief is it all starts at home. How you're raised, how you're brought up, your religious beliefs, how strong you are with them, it all starts at home. And I always say that I grew up in, as much as my mom was a single mother, she grew up with her mom. I mean, her mom is with us, living with us. Her sisters also live with us, and they are all very strong-willed. career women like who have really progressed in their careers. One is an architect, one is an IT engineer, everyone has a different role to play in the society. And sometimes I see parents who like pamper their kids and stuff. I don't think that ever happened with my mom. Like my mom is just like utajipanga. Even when I was leaving for university, she told me, I think I've laid the principles. It's now you to lead your life. I mean, and once you're out there on your own is when you realize how that influence of where you live and the background that you came from really plays a role in you, because you can't diverge from it. As much as you deviate, so you maybe like move here, move there, you'll always still come finding yourself creating a home for yourself that is similar to the home you have back home. Yeah.
Now, Naima, besides having a full-time job as a fleet development engineer, you have taken keen interest in volunteerism. Tell me about that.
So this is an aspect of, it also started in university.
Okay.
We did a lot of volunteering activities with the Islamic Society, there's like an Arab society there. So even the people who got me interested into volunteerism are people I met in university. So we had 2 guys who were also very active volunteers, even did a few things in Kenya when they were in university. In Garissa and etc. So they were like, hey, why don't we start this aspect of travel with a purpose? And I met them from university, and even their first trip was in Zanzibar, and they were like, hey, we're 2 guys, we want to attract Muslims to come and do this trip, but if we're only 2 guys, I'm thinking we'll get girls to shy away from the trip, and they'll think maybe it's like an all guys thing. So why don't you join us, support us, then maybe we'll have girls join.
Yeah.
So first project came. We got people came from different places in the Middle East who joined the trip to Zanzibar. The initial part when you told them, yeah, you're constructing a classroom, they were like, how? Especially the girls, they were like, okay, yeah, we're up for it, but I thought we were just going to be painting or like, playing around with the kids. We're like, no. Yeah. The target was we are in Zanzibar for a month and we are building a classroom.
Yeah.
So progressively as the project, now when that project picked up so fast, we started introducing other activities. We started introducing like medical activities where we do like medical camps. We get medical students, medics who go into the rural areas of Zanzibar and like treat people. Another one we did, which was very interesting, we called it community development, where we brought in the youth, like some orphans who don't have like very good background educations. We took them through this youth empowerment program, and whoever really excelled, we try and get them some sponsorship from the Middle East. Yeah.
Now, Naima, very briefly, what is your message to people out there, especially a girl who's watching you today and wants to become an engineer? What is your message to her?
My message to her would be, pursue what your heart desires. Do not let anyone or do not let the stigma of our communities drive you to select or choose a career path or choose anything in your life that does not align with what is within you.
Thank you so much, Naima, for your time. It's been an amazing session, and I pray for God to make your journey even easier and for you to excel, and for us to meet again when you're at a higher role, of course. Yeah. Thank you so much. Now we have come to the end of the meet and greet show. All I can say is allow your passion to become your purpose, and it will eventually become your profession. I've been your host, Aisha Khan.
We give thanks and praise to Allah for what we are. Mashallah, tabarakallah.